Why do we feel that many times our prayers are not answered? That what we're praying for that we don't get, that God doesn't hear us? Well, we're going to talk about that tonight. This is Tom Kieran with the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness in San Diego, California. Welcome back, guys. This is where we help you level up and become a better version of yourself, the best version. Tonight, guys, I want to talk about prayer. And I'm going to talk about how do we get prayers to work? What are we doing wrong if our prayers are not answered? Why do we feel that God doesn't hear us, or if God hears us, that He's ignoring our prayers? I can assure you, God hears you and He's not ignoring your prayers. Your prayers are being answered. How? Well, sometimes the prayers are being answered by you getting the opposite of what you want, because it's how you're praying. We talked a little bit, we started to build on this, but let's talk about how to pray to get what we want. How to pray to the way that God works with us. Yes? And remember, inside you is God, so you are part of this divinity. There's a great author that talks about this. Neville Goddard wrote Prayers, the Art of Believing. Prayers, the Art of Believing. Neville Goddard was a mystic, a spiritual teacher, an author he references the Bible quite a bit, well read on the Bible, in all versions of the Bible. And he talked about these universal laws. He talked about God in the sense of the subconscious mind, or Jesus Christ within us, that imagination. He talked about it as imagination. We'll talk more about Neville. But what I want to talk tonight is the prayers, the art of believing, one aspect of his work in his message. And if you read him, he often quotes this quote from the Bible: "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Mark 11:24. I think I wrote that on an earlier lesson. So what are the ancients saying? What is Jesus saying? What are they saying here? And I referenced this before. Whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it already, and it will be yours. So God, Jesus, is asking us, when we pray, to believe that we already have it. And that's how your prayers get answered. It's really built on this, guys. It's really built on this idea that when you pray and beg, when you pray and ask for something and you don't believe it, or you're not sure, or it's more of a supplication. Yes, you're asking God for something. That's not a prayer. That's just asking for something. What you got to do when you pray is believe that you already received it. Prayer is just confirmation that it's on its way. It's really remarkable. It's based on this idea that believing is receiving, or believing is seeing. We talked a little bit about this. I mentioned the idea of believing is seeing as opposed to seeing is believing. Wayne Dyer also talks about this idea of wishes fulfilled. So what is this idea that prayers, based on belief, based on faith, what is it built on? And Neville talks about this idea of the law of reversibility. It's based on the law of cause and effect. If A created B, then B can create A. If we believe that, we can get that working for us. We can use the law of reversibility to give us the faith and the belief that this works, that it's on its way. So here's the idea, guys. A and B. A would be our wish fulfilled. We have it. So if we have something, what would we feel like if we already had it? That's the idea. If you have already had it, it produces a feeling of your wish fulfilled. So if it's a relationship, maybe it's love, right? So you have the relationship, that produces the feeling of love, those loving feelings, those feelings of fun and companionship and interest and love. all of those things are produced. Well, if that relationship can produce those feelings, then based on the law of reversibility, based on reversing cause and effect, if you have those feelings of your wish fulfilled, if you can manifest those feelings before you have it, then you can produce the relationship. Okay, it's just like, let's take another example, money as a big one. So you have the money, or you have abundance, or what do you get? What does money feel like when you have a lot of money? Freedom. So you have the freedom, right? You have the money. What does that produce? It produces a feeling of freedom. It produces a feeling of happiness that you can do whatever you want. Well, if you can get in that feeling now, that abundant feeling, B can produce A, the money. So this is the idea. You've got to produce the feeling. If A can produce B, B can produce A. We've talked about this, but I think never as clearly as we're going to talk about it tonight, because it's based on this law of reversibility. Yeah, if the money can produce feelings of freedom and independence and happiness, then the feelings of happiness, freedom and independence can produce the money. If being in a relationship, falling in love, and being with the one you want to be with can produce feelings of security and love and glee and excitement, then the feeling of excitement, love, and glee can produce the relationship. This is how the law of reversibility works. This is how the universal laws work, guys. This is powerful. And this builds right on as what we've been talking about earlier. Let's continue. So, the stuff, the money, the relationship, good health. If you have that stuff produces certain feelings. It produces maybe an abundant feeling, as in money. It produces, you feel loved if you're in a relationship. You feel loved or even loving, right? If you have good health, you feel invincible. Yeah, you feel energetic. You feel alive. You feel that you get all this energy, right? Well, if all of that is true, and the law of reversibility is true, then the happy feelings, the abundant feeling, the feeling of freedom can produce the money. The feeling of being loved and loving can produce the relationship. The feeling of invincibility before you have it, before you have the good health, can produce the good health. This is how it works, guys. We've talked about this. The law of reversibility. And just keep in mind, we're spiritual and we're physical. We're mostly spiritual, having a physical experience. So, the spiritual, anything that you see around you, I don't care if it's cars or houses or money or stores or furniture, all of that was a thought, a spiritual energy before, a vibration, before it was manifested into physical form. So the spiritual needs to precede the physical. You must get in that believing state. To get in that spiritual state, because it precedes it, you must believe. Why can you believe? Based on the law of reversibility. It's like the law of opposites. When you see the opposite coming, you know that you're going to get your wish. This is the same type of thing. Once you know the law of reversibility and understand it, you know that if you get into these feelings, it's going to produce this stuff. If you consistently stay in it, don't doubt. Have faith, right? Have faith because you know the laws. You must believe before you can manifest it. You guys, you cannot get it unless you believe. You will attract what you believe. Believing is receiving. Believing is seeing. You don't attract what you want necessarily. Rather, you attract who you are. Who you are is the thoughts, feelings, and the beliefs that make up you. So whatever you're thinking, feeling, believing, that's what you're going to attract. That's who you are. Guys, this is powerful. Wow. So this is based on all the spiritual teachers are talking about. Not just Neville Goddard, but I like the way Neville talks about it. We're going to talk more about him and some of his theories and books, because he presents it very clearly and crisp, and it's very crisp. And I wanted to share that with you. Also, there's another teacher, another author, Joseph Murphy. Both of these guys were from the 50s and 60s. Yeah, I think Joseph Murphy wrote The Power of the Subconscious Mind, which really means the power of spirit, right? The power of God, the power of infinite potential, the power of the field of possibilities, right? All pulling from that same thing, from that same energy. We are a part of that, right? We are connected. So whatever we're vibrating, if we're all connected, we will attract that similar energy, right? You've got to believe that once you line up with it, it's coming. This is really powerful stuff, guys, that I wanted to share with you tonight. We're going to talk more about this, but this is sort of our first discussion on prayer. So we always thought prayer was, kneeling and asking for things, right? And sometimes you would get it, sometimes you wouldn't. Most times you wouldn't, right? And then you would think you're being punished or you did something wrong. Guys, it's none of that. This is how you pray. It's believing. It's praying from the stance of wishes fulfilled. You got to go to the end. Go to the end to how you would feel. And then you'll attract what you want, right? It's praying with the end in mind, right? It's praying from that wishes fulfilled, that it's already yours, right? The late Wayne Dyer also talks about this. Get into that feeling. Get into how would you feel? What would you do if your wish was already fulfilled? That's what you got to pray from. And then it will come to you. So this is our first discussion tonight. We're going to talk more about this stuff. I just wanted to introduce it, I'm going to put links down below for both The Power of the Subconscious Mind and this book, Neville Goddard, Prayer, the Art of Believing. He wrote a lot of books. You can get them all in one volume as well. We're going to talk more about this, guys. This wishes fulfilled, this praying from the idea that your wishes are fulfilled, that it's already yours. We're building on this, and we're adding to it, and we're introducing some other universal laws that will help you. Yeah? So, until next time, this is Tom Kieran. Guys, don't forget to hit the caricature of me, to subscribe, like the video. That's how we get our message out, and hit the notification button so you never miss a video. A Be Something Wonderful video. This is Tom Kieran with the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness in San Diego, California, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Guys, until next time, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.